We're rolling.
Are we?
Yeah, we've been rolling this whole time.
Good thing we didn't talk too much about the
Hello and welcome back to the Whiskey Rant podcast. I'm Jeremy. Botched it.
We're rolling. This is
I
gold.
said, "Are you ready?" And you said yes. And
No. This is all part of the podcast.
Hey, welcome to Super Social Club. I'm Jeremy.
This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob.
Welcome to the Whiskey Rant podcast.
It's a little crusty,
It's frustrating.
and it's going to be a little bit of a rant.
I don't understand it. I don't know why.
Some sort of injustice.
Anyway, end rant.
I'm Rob, by the way. This is the Whiskey Rant podcast.
It's been a minute.
It's been too many
We've
minutes.
taken the summer off, pretty much.
We pretty much
the podcast.
not only just on the podcast, like pretty much my entire channel. I took the summer off.
Me too, man. Summers are busy. They go by quick. I don't know. Not too many people. Well, I was going to say not too many people drink whiskey during the summertime, but of course you do.
No, yeah, we drink whiskey for sure.
But it's just slows down. I feel like the whole industry slows down a little bit, right?
It's just hard to coordinate with two animals that I'm trying to keep alive on a regular basis. And
These are your children you're talking about?
my children, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, it's tough. But you know what? I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad we're in this backyard, and we're going to try to bang out an episode right now.
It's a nice night, and tonight we're going to be talking about something that's happening, or it's like a new trend that's happening with retail stores.
Yeah.
And it's about allocated bottles, and it's about them maximizing what they can sell with the small selection allocation that they get.
Yeah. So basically, if you don't know, a lot of these companies hold the retail store hostage when it comes to buying their Michter's toasted barrel ryes, or this is the toasted barrel, yeah? Or the barrel strength. This is just the barrel strength? This is just the barrel
Yeah, so
strength.
that's what we're drinking tonight. We're drinking the Michter's Barrel Strength. It's 2020 release.
20? Yeah, or 21. I think it's the most recent one.
Says at the top.
2021.
Okay, sorry, 2021.
53.2%, 106.4 proof.
I never say proof, because I mean...
What does proof mean? You know that
It's
you
just
can't
double the
actually
ABV.
find what that means in the dictionary, other than proof, evidence.
I know what originated, but what's the point of talking about proof when you just say the ABV?
Yeah, ABV is what's important. So these stores are being held hostage because Michter's has a whole slew of the sour mash and all the stuff that literally nobody buys. It just sits on shelves, and at the LCBO, it's for it to sit on the shelf at the LCBO means nobody's buying it.
You're talking about the US one, their entry level stuff.
Right, but in order to get this stuff, the good stuff, the barrel proofs, the toasted,
Yeah, the 10-year-olds, the ryes.
exactly,
Yeah.
all that stuff, you have to buy X amount of the other stuff. So before it even gets to the retail stage, the merchants,
the brokers.
the brokers yeah,
are like,
exactly.
yeah, if you want some Michter's 10-year-old,
Yeah.
here's a case of Fireball whiskey that you have to buy from me as well.
Yeah,
here's a
10,
case.
more like 10 or 20
Sure.
cases.
Yeah,
that's
here's a bunch of my generic stuff that I need to move.
Mhm.
And if you want an allocated bottle or a case, you have to take this as well.
Yeah, and it's happening with everything now. It's happening with, Buffalo Trace. You have to buy X amount of the garbage stuff in order to get.
You want a bottle of Blanton's?
Yeah.
Here's 3 cases of Buffalo.
That's a great example. Blanton's Gold. You're getting a case of Blanton's Gold if you get 50 cases of Buffalo Trace that's going to sit on your shelves for 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue to sit on
Buffalo
shelves.
Trace doesn't really sit on shelves. But,
True, but I mean it used to.
But other examples, right? Because there's lots of other big brands that have generic whiskeys, and not necessarily even whiskey. They might have vodka. They might have gin. They might have whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And these brokers are like, you want this? Take this off my hands.
Yeah.
And it's translating to customers, not only in the price of the allocated bottle, which you guys know is just out of control. At some
course.
retail shops
Yeah.
in the U.S., the price tag that they stick on these things is insane. But now they're starting these bundle packages where it's a 4 or 5 bottle bundle, and right in the middle is the one you want, but the bottles on the outside
I know
are
just okay.
they're just generic.
Or some, I mean, depending on the store, but yeah, it can get out of hand really quick. Now let's play a little game here. We're gonna play. You are the retail store. Okay. Now I come to you. You want the new Springbank release, whatever it is. Let's call it the 15-year-old.
It doesn't matter what it is. I want it anyway.
Yeah, 15-year-old Marsala cask. That's
Yeah.
what it's called.
Yeah.
All right? I just made it up. That doesn't actually exist. Don't go crazy trying to find it. It's not real. All right? You want that. But in order to get that, you have to buy a whole ton of Kilhoman. Like, we're talking several cases of different types of Kilhoman, because there's lots of them.
Yeah.
You have to buy, and the other stuff will sell out quick, so it's not so big a deal. The, Longrow NS is one of the ones that maybe will sit on shelves for a little while. You have to buy your Springbank 10, you have to buy your Hazelburn 10, you have to have all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that Kilhoman sits on your shelf for an entire year. What do you mark that bottle of Springbank 15 that everybody wants in the world, and you only have 6 of them? What do you mark that at to justify the amount of money you put into getting all this other stuff from Kilhoman that you don't want?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, right? And like, we are kind of like sympathetic to the retailer, I think, a little bit in our argument here. It's like, it sucks for the consumer, but if you're being held hostage, you got to price your allocated bottle at an amount to justify what's going to be sitting on your shelf, or
Absolutely.
what you might not necessarily sell, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, they should be held accountable within reason too, though. Like, let's be honest. Yes, I want that Springbank, but I don't want to buy 10 other bottles that are just gonna sit on my shelf now.
But you got to play the game, right?
I know, right?
Or else you don't get your allocation, and
Or
it
else
goes
you
to
don't get it.
someone else is willing to do it.
Now, what a lot of people justify it in the other way. Like, well, let's say, Springbank 10, for example, the local barley, the most recent local barley. There was packages being sold to get that Springbank 10 local barley. You had to buy 4 other bottles or whatever it was.
Yep.
Now, that whole package wasn't valued at what the Springbank 10 local barley was on secondary. So
Sure.
when you look at it that way, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can do this, and I can consume the other 4 bottles for free, essentially, if I flip that.
True.
Right.
And I mean, I guess it's not like buying a package deal of bottles. I mean, you might already have something in there. It's most likely going to be some generic stuff.
Yep.
Not the end of the world.
No.
But you'd rather just buy the one bottle at retail than buying a bundle of bottles.
Absolutely. So, like, I think this is going to be something that we're going to experience moving forward across the board.
Yeah.
Because I don't know a fair way to say, okay, I only have 10 bottles of Springbank 10 local barley. I have 100 loyal customers. That's just my loyal customers. You know what I mean?
That's those are people that are dropping $25K a year.
A year.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, how do I choose between these 10 loyal customers? Do I pick my friends? That's a little shady, but I'm sure it's done.
Yeah.
Right? Do I take them for myself? I'm sure that's done as well. Or what a lot of these guys are doing is the lotteries, right? Like,
Sure.
Kensington Wine Market, Andrew does lotteries all the time.
Yeah.
That's probably the most fair way to do it.
For sure.
But I mean, guys that have been with that company from day one are probably saying, what the hell? Like, I don't want to wait in a lottery. I want the bottle like I got it 3 years ago in the caseload.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Longrow Red, not that long ago, we were buying cases at a time. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Now, you can't even get
I
one.
don't have the new one yet.
I know a guy that could probably hook you up.
You know a guy? Yeah.
But yeah, so it's getting out of hand, and I think it's just going to get worse. Springbank was the equivalent of BTAC in the UK for a very long time.
Yeah.
We're starting to smell that. We're starting to smell that, like, coming. You know what I mean? If this year wasn't an indication as to how ugly it's going to get soon, I don't know what is, because like, it was impossible to get.
The bourbon market's been there for a while, right? This has been happening with bourbon since the Pappy craze.
Yeah.
I would love to know what people have to do, what their invoice looks like when they have a case of Pappy in it. What else is included with that? What else are they having to buy from these brokers?
Good point.
When they get a case of Pappy. And I mean, like, it's great promotion for their store, but I feel like it's just a hassle for them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the markup, if they're selling it for MSRP, they're not making that much money on the bottle. They get, like, a handful. And they get 300 people waiting with little tickets trying to win one.
Right. So this is the thing: is do you like, jack up your price and stick out like a sore thumb and become that guy in the retail market that sells Blanton's Gold for $400, or do you do these bundles? Like, what's the lesser of the two evils? I don't know. I think it's the bundles, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, you can't risk not like losing your allocation, right? You have to keep the relationship going, and that's the way it's going. I mean, you have to play ball. I mean, I don't really see any other way around it. And yeah, it's trickling down to the consumers now, and whiskey's getting expensive, man. It's going way up.
Honestly, I'm doing a reno for, partially for the channel, because like I want to have like an official set where I have my bar and all these things. So like we're doing our basement. Everything's going crazy through the roof, dude. Everything. Like, you can't buy a piece of wood now for.
That's right, lumber, right? Lumber's crazy.
Actually, lumber has dropped a bit, like, luckily. But just in general, everything costs like a stupid amount of money. You're looking at almost at least 1/3 more than you would have pre-COVID. It's crazy.
Is that like a supply thing? Like, since COVID happened, the manufacturers slowed down and then couldn't keep back up with demand.
Yeah, well, because like you have to stay home. Right. So what's everybody doing? They're doing their backyards. They're doing their basements. They're making their livable space more livable, essentially, right? They're not going on vacation anymore. They're not doing those things that they used to do that consumed a lot of their money. So they have a lot of money for play, right? But we're feeling it.
Speaking about money, let's talk about secondary market, because we're drinking Michters tonight. And what do you think about this Michters?
I love it. Honestly, like, so for those of you that don't know, we actually filmed this episode once before. It was probably, about 2 months ago almost.
Yeah.
A month and a half ago, 2 months ago, like just after the last episode we filmed. And it didn't work out. Like, we had a...
Well, what happened was the mic got muted about 15 minutes into it.
And then, so we couldn't recover the rest of the video. Is what it is, but I loved it then. And I'm honestly thinking I love it even more now.
Yeah, I've been touching it a little bit, not too much, but so like we said, this is the barrel strength rye, the 2021 release, 53.2%.
Yep.
I mean, the butterscotch, the caramel, the brown sugar you get on this, it doesn't drink too heavy like a rye. What would you say, like, rye content? I think it's like 60, 65.
I wonder. I mean, usually American ryes tend to be low 50s, right? Even under, low 50s, right? Like just under 60. I don't know. This one's hard to tell because I am getting like a good amount of rye on the finish. So I don't know. I would say that it's not as sweet as like some of the toasted barrels that I've had, but it could be because we're outside. Maybe I'm not picking up as much sweetness. But I love it. Like I mean the dill notes and the rye bread kind of spice. There's a little bit of cinnamon in there. I really like it. I think it's fantastic.
I'm looking up what the mash bill is right now.
I think it's undisclosed.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, like bourbon, what's it called? Breaking Bourbon usually discloses what is disclosed, and I think for this
You're
one,
right, undisclosed mash bill.
Yeah. So I think. I don't know. If I had to guess, probably around 60, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I would probably put it between 60 and 65. But I don't think it's up there. Like, I don't think it's in the 70s.
No, like, if you compare this to, like, what's the Pikesville 10-year-old or whatever it is, that rye, that's a lot sweeter. It drinks more like a bourbon. I would say that this is a higher rye than that, but then it's not like a barely legal rye kind of thing. You know what I mean? Somewhere in between.
Yeah, delicious stuff. So secondary market, let's talk about Michters specifically. Some of their high age statement stuff just gets out of control. So I was looking up what the 25-year-old goes for. A brand new bottle of 25. I'm not talking like an old vintage. I'm talking like last year's.
Like you were lucky enough to get it on retail. You walk home and turn on your computer.
Yeah, $7,500 for Michter's 25-year-old.
What's retail on that? It's like about around 2,000.
I think it's like 22.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
Something like that.
Maybe a little bit less.
22, 25.
Yeah. It used to be. I remember it like being closer to 1,000 that long ago.
Yeah, you're right.
Actually, like I could have sworn we had the opportunity to buy one at the LCBO maybe 4 or 5 years ago for like $750. Like, I'm not kidding.
Canadian dollars, which is like $3
Canadian
US.
exactly. So like, imagine what that bottle now goes for.
Oh, I'm sure, right? Because you go back in years, you're looking at, you know, a couple $100 more each year you go back.
Yeah. We rarely get planes in this area. I'm very surprised that there's one.
It's like a single engine low flyer.
It's something small.
But yeah, like even the Michter's 10-year-old, right? Like something like that, you're looking at $225.
Yeah,
US.
it's climbing.
Yeah.
It is
the
climbing.
ride goes for more.
Yeah. Again, something that we were able to get for about $1.60, $1.70 not that long ago, and now it's over $200 for sure. So, I don't think the 10 is worth it, to be honest with you. Like it's a skip for me. I like it.
I disagree. I think that it's amazing. And
Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever had a 10-year-old. It was 2017 release.
Mm-hmm.
I drank half the bottle in one sitting. I cracked it and I freaking downed half that bottle in one sitting.
It's easy to it's
easy
really
to drink.
easy to drink. It's really easy to drink. You brought it over my house. I think that exact bottle. You brought it over to my house.
Probably,
and we reviewed it, I think, together.
Maybe. Yeah.
This was like close to like the birth of Sipper Social Club.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember it being good, but I mean I also remember, you know, the way I think all bourbon is. It's just bourbon.
I think it's a delicious bourbon. I like what Michter's is doing. You know, sourcing their stuff, low entry proof.
Yeah. I would have liked to see that at cask strength, at barrel proof.
There is one.
There is
a 10-year-old barrel proof bourbon.
See that?
Good luck finding it or getting it.
Well, yeah, you have to kill somebody to get it.
But yeah, there is a such thing. It's very, very rare. It comes in a bottle looking like this, not like the wider ones.
I was thinking about for what's happening on YouTube, Whiskey Tube. Today we go what's happening in the whiskey world outside of YouTube on Netflix. Have you seen Heist?
Yes.
The Pappy Heist?
I did watch that. Yeah.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, and I knew about that Pappy Heist before they released that Netflix couple episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. It was interesting to see it. A buddy of mine, I was actually over, and he's like, "Yo, put on this Heist thing." I was like, "You want to drink some Pappy while we watch this?"
That's pretty cool.
So we poured a little bit, and we watched it. I see it. I'm like, "See, it's not that good."
What's crazy is that like this happened before the real boom of Pappy, right?
Yeah, this is when it first started. So what year was this? 2013 or something?
Early, maybe even earlier.
Okay.
Like early enough for him to have a case of Pappy 15, and like his buddy comes over and says, "I want some," and he just gave him 2 bottles.
Yeah,
like,
right.
No one ever would do that now. Like 2 bottles, that's like fucking. You're talking about like that's a tuition for a year.
I mean, where was the inventory checks on this thing? Because this guy was like literally just taking bottles off the assembly line, like off the bottling line, and just like, I'll just take these home and drink them, or I'll just take a cask.
It
or
was
whatever.
just like a poorly run distillery, obviously.
I mean, I get like there probably isn't that much like inventory checks, right? Like, I mean, if you take a couple bottles.
Yeah. Honestly,
I mean, now I'm sure it's way different.
It's got to be different
with all the laser coats and everything.
Yeah, laser coating. If you're near the barrels, you're being watched. There's cameras everywhere for sure.
That's why they give their employees free whiskey.
Yeah.
So they don't need to take it.
Yeah, I guess you would have to.
Like, I'm pretty sure every distillery gives their employees some stuff. I know a buddy of mine, his dad worked at Labatt's forever, and they would get 2 cases a month, like, compensation, right?
That's pretty cool. But so that's kind of how Glengoyne started their whole teapot dram thing.
Yeah,
right?
That's a teapot dram story, where everyone got a couple measures a day.
Yeah.
And if you didn't drink it, you threw it in the teapot and came back, and I'm sure by the end of the day it was nicely blended together and good to go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So yeah, check out Heist. So it's a series, and there's 1 or 2 episodes.
I think it's 2 episodes just focusing.
2 of the series episodes focus on the Pappy Heist.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff I didn't actually even watch. I watched only the Pappy episodes.
Yeah, so this guy was literally supplying like all the big ups into Kentucky with the bourbon, including barrels.
Yeah, he had barrels of Wild Turkey as well.
Yeah.
Near the end, yeah. Before he got, well, I'm not gonna spoil it, but
Well, he got busted, obviously.
Yeah. Well, he's still telling the story, so.
There you go.
Should we get to grading, or what do you think?
Yeah, what do you? Let's talk scores on this Michter's.
So I think the last time we sat at this table and reviewed this, I gave it an 88. I feel like I was a little harsh. I feel like, you know what, I'm gonna go with an 89. I think this is really good stuff.
I am exactly with you with 89. I think the complexity of this, the boldness, it's very rich. It's very what you want with a rye whiskey, an American rye whiskey, in my opinion. It's stereotypical rye whiskey.
Yep.
It's good, nice spice level. The sweetness, is well balanced with all the other notes. So very, very good. And what did we pay for this?
I want to say it was like $110. We got a really good deal.
We got a great deal.
We got a really good deal.
Really good deal.
Our buddy Mark from Liquor Lodge hooked us up on this one.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're finding this at retail, it's an auto buy for sure.
Yeah.
What would you pay secondary for this?
I paid $200 for this.
I think 200. I mean, if you given the state of current market, I think 200 is probably a decent price for this. I think they go for more on secondary. We're talking Canadian dollars, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of people selling for Canadian double that, like 400.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, probably a couple like one-offs, not really what it's going for. I think it's going for around 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So. Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. If you want to grab this podcast earlier than everyone else, check out our Patreon. You can join for as little as $1 and get the Whiskey Rant podcast sooner than anyone else.
Yep.
And thanks so much for watching, guys. Much appreciated. And until next time, have a good one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.